It's my pleasure today to introduce with me Christopher Kennedy from Henderson, Nevada, and me as the assistant from Newark, Ohio. Christopher, with my assistance, will be giving a presentation on our how-to day of how to play online board games using Tabletop Simulator. He took time out of his busy schedule along with his wife and met up with friends to relax, play board games at different friends' homes. That was until COVID and the requirements of keeping distance and all of that stuff made it so you couldn't go to somebody's house and play games. He found there was a way to play board games online and still have fun of playing, but following safe practices. With this new technology or knowledge, Christopher resumed his fun activity and with his friends, and then has expanded his online game playing with his parents who live 2,000 miles away. So this afternoon, we are going to, different than we practiced, share with you how to get started using Tabletop Simulator and use a lot of its features while playing a variety of tabletop games, including cards, standard board games, and cooperative games. So I'm going to start sharing, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about, on my part, the beginning steps that you need to do, and then we'll go into a lot of details on playing this. And I really think you'll enjoy what this program has to offer and the fun that we've had. The first thing you have to do is get a program called Steam that will reside on your computer that allows this all to interact together. To get Steam, you would go to their website, which is store.steampower.com. If you just Google or DuckDuckGo Steam, you should end up at this page. And what you'll find out that Steam is a whole system of games that you play on the computer. And then some of these games are ones that you can play with others, some of your fourth. And I'm not going to go all through these because that would take forever. But up at the top, you have an Install Steam button. When you click on that, it'll bring you to here. Steam knows what kind of a computer you are running, so it automatically is going to install the Windows version. But you can also see at the bottom that there's an Apple version, and then this is the version for Linux distributions that are based on Debian. So that would be all, the Debian, the Ubuntu's, the Linux Mint, and everything that's based that way. They are developing other programs that work on the other ones as they go. But this is the base program that you get that kind of is like the operating system. And Chris can chime in anytime I don't say anything right.
Yeah, it's kind of like an app store.
Yeah. Okay. So I already have. So you download that, and then the Steam will be inside the your programs menu on wherever. And so then I'll switch back. You end up getting to your program jumps up. So first thing then I have to do is get myself logged into my Steam account. The Steam account is free, as was Steam getting it. So I'm just going to log in. And you can also set it for remembering if you don't want to have to do it, if you're not worried about somebody getting on your computer and playing all your Steam games. Now, inside of Steam, so that lots of advertising, lots of things on here, is that you can, through your settings, put an avatar for you. You can see that mine's up there in the little corner. It's my little teacher guy. That's for Steam. But when we go into playing our games, that becomes my marker for the game playing that we do. Now, Steam then needs to have some games that you play, and you can go to the store of Steam, which was very similar to what we just saw on the website. And here's where you can go through and find games that you can play on your computer. And again, it's Mac, Apple, and Linux. We're today talking about Tabletop Simulator, which is another program that runs inside of Steam that allows you to do all these things that Chris is going to help show you. That's amazing for what we do. And you would go to the library, and where'd my search box go?
You would go to the store initially.
Oh, I'm sorry, store. Oh, there's search. And you would want to search for table. Tabletop. And then it pops up. Now, these are games that are within Tabletop Simulator. But what I want you to notice right here, and in our first presentation today, Kelly has sent us a handout for his book that that Judy will send on to you when we send the information. We have a door prize, I guess you could say, for you. Tabletop Simulator is a cost game, but what I want you to think of it is that it's the big, very fancy gaming table that you go to your sports store and you buy for your house. It might be one of those like 8-sided ones that's got felt on it and cup holders and all that. But you're buying a big fancy game table for your home. This is for the computer. But what I want you to know, it says I already have it, so I can do it, is that this weekend for, I guess, Valentine's, it's on sale. And I can't believe the price that they put it on. It's half price. It's not even $10. And this is fantastic. So this is the kind of thing where if you're thinking about, you might be getting into this online game playing. And as you'll see later, I know that one of my club members is supposed to be here watching because she wants to be able to play with her grandkids and family that are all scattered out. And so this would be the great time. If you're even thinking about it, $10 and you have it compared to $20 normally. You can buy a 4-pack family for $30. So that's even a discount there. So you would just click on this, and then it would, after you paid for it, it would install it onto your Steam. So if I go back to my library, you can see that on the left-hand side here, I have 2 programs that I've put on here, and there's the Tabletop Simulator. So once I do that, I want to get into it, and it does, it comes in a couple different spots. It can tell you I've been recently playing with it, and there it is. So I just click on it, and it's going to bring up the information, and then I'm going to click play to start up Tabletop Simulator. Now, we won't be in Tabletop Simulator just yet. It's loading the game right now for us. And this is our beginning screen. And this is where we found out about it, the Lunar New Year sale for 50% off. So if I was even thinking about this, I would go and get it for that much of a price cut and for what this can do. There are settings that I wanted just to point out that under sound, there is music that comes from the game. So if you want to have some music while you're playing, there's a volume here. It sometimes to me gets in the way. So that's something that I turn all the way down so it doesn't drive me crazy. Very similar to Skype and Zoom, this has a voice connection. So you can be able to talk to your component, your fellow players through this. Now, we can't demonstrate that because it'll go crazy, the fact that we're using the microphone and chatting with Zoom. But this way you can all get online and be far apart and still communicate with each other. And same as with Zoom, the push to talk, and you can set that up. There are other tools that we might come back to in terms of setting it up later. One thing is there's a chat box, and I've turned it off because it kind of gets in my way. All right, so that's settings that you would come in and set up and do it. You have two options. You can either join a group or you can create a group. So if I would click on join, and if I went and looked for Chris's game room, we're not going to find it because unfortunately he's not online. But if I erase that, can I?
Yeah, so if you want to switch to my screen, I can show you.
Can you?
Yeah, setting up a.
You're on, huh? Okay, yeah. Great. I'm going to stop my sharing because we're going to do this back and forth because we want you to be able to see as me, the player, then what it looks like, and then back to him. But you can see that these are all the 19,000 different rooms of people playing tabletop all over around the world. So I'll cancel this, stop the sharing, and then let Chris.
Yes, we should be seeing that now, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
So you got your internet back.
Yeah, for now.
For now. Okay, welcome, Chris.
Thank you. My pleasure. So when there's one person is going to be the host of the game, and they're going to create a small server inside of Tabletop Simulator that other people can access. So if you're going to be the host of the game, you're going to go to the Create tab right here. And you're going to click that button, and you're going to create a multiplayer server. So now you can see, and you name it whatever you want, set the password to whatever you want. So for this demonstration, I've got a server name of AppCug Demo, and the server password is tabletop. And so I'm going to go ahead and create that server. And now we've loaded up, and you can see I'm inside of this little server. And at its core, Tabletop Simulator is just a 3D environment with physics modeling. So basically, I'm just sitting, there's a table, I'm sitting here, you can see my name down at the bottom. If I rotate around using right mouse down, you can see the little avatar that John mentioned a minute ago. So I'm sitting here at this table by myself, all by my lonesome, and I need somebody to play with me. So now I'm going to stop sharing, and we're going to switch back to John's screen so that you can see how then he logs in to join me in this room.
All right, so I'm back at that same screen that I showed you before, and I'm not going to create. But I could create my own room. It's not one of those things where you can only be one or the other. I can be both, and so on days I'm playing games with Christopher, I would just join. So I'm going to click join, and I had already started up at the top. As I said, there's 19,000. Wow, that's a lot. So I go up to the top and just APCU, and because nobody else has come up with that kind of a name, it pops right up. So I select that one, and then I want to connect to his game room. Do the password, so it's going to be tabletop. And the reason, of course, as you can see right now that we're doing this as a demo one, is it doesn't hide your password. And so I'm now connecting. And you'll see a little different view, and you see that there's Christopher already logged in, and I can get to choose a color. So I'm going to jump and take my blue, and the table rotates so I'm at the bottom. But if I rotate the table, you can see, remember I told you about that little avatar that I had? If you don't have one, it just comes up with some kind of a generic table, a generic picture. But it's kind of neat because you can have your own little picture sitting at the table. All right, I think that's all I need to show for right now, so you can see that I got in. And up in the corner, you can see who the other players are when you're playing. All right, I'll stop and let Christopher take these back so he can be doing the there was a question. No, that all players need to have their own. That's why there was that family pack of 4 items. So that, yes, everybody does it. So you can be able to access this complete program.
Cool. Yes. So, but then the individual stuff that you find in here, once you've paid the $9.99, it's not a subscription. So that's for, you own it outright. And then we have this environment. So when you first open the game, you can click over here in the tab to the left on the top, and that'll be games. And the first group we'll look at is classic, and these are all the ones that are going to come preloaded with Tabletop Simulator. So we can start out with just a deck of cards, and we can see that we've got our 52 cards here. I can grab it, pull a card off. If I right-click, so when we right-click, it's just like many programs. You're going to find a contextual menu that gives you some stuff to do. We've got Shuffle. You can also see above, when I hovered over Shuffle there, the R comes up, so that's a keystroke. So just R, hovering over the deck, pressing R will give you a shuffle to the deck. We've got Cut, Split, Spread. I can spread the cards out. Yeah, they fell off the environment. Let me load up another deck of cards. So we can also from here deal. So we've got the deal button down here. Now if you select in the gray, it's going to deal a card to everybody. If you just select the color of where you're sitting, you'll deal there. So you can see if I dealt to everybody, it would deal out to all the seats in the table, even though we don't have everybody there. So we'll just do that a couple more times. So everybody's got a hand of 5 cards, or 6, I guess. All right, so now what I want you to observe is this is my seat down here at the bottom of your screen. And you can see, I can see the cards that are in my hand face up. But if you'll notice, if I turn around here, I can't see the cards that are in John's hand. And so that's, you're only seeing the cards in your hand. So the game has created a protected area where you can only see what you have. Now if I bring my mouse all the way down here, I can see a larger version of the cards in my hand. So if I zoomed out from the table a little bit, I'd still be able to see the cards that are in my hand. Nobody else can see those. A couple other keystrokes to be aware of is if you hold on Alt over anything, it's going to bring up a larger version of it. And you can mouse wheel in and out to change the size of that. This is really helpful when you have little cards that have text or helping you, the rules of how to play. You want to hold down Alt so that you can read that at a reasonable size and then close it back out. So with this just simple deck of cards, you could play anything.
Anything you play at cards.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much any game you want it. So I'm going to bring up one more blank deck of cards and then just show you. So if we were just playing, like a game of Rummy or something, I would, if I wanted to just deal to John and myself, I would just blue, white, blue, white, blue, white. And now we're dealing those cards out just to the seats that we want. Yeah,
and I'm on I'm on 2 monitors, so I'm monitoring my screen, my person, and so I just see my deck. I don't see his, except if I look at the Zoom screen, I can see his deck, but that's cheating.
And you can also grab a card from the deck. Another key command to remember is F is flip. So F flips that card over. So at this point, we could both see the card. Now, as soon as I pull it into my hand, you can see a little box highlight up there towards the bottom of the screen, and that's the safe area that's my hand. So now once that card goes into that area, other players at the table won't be able to see that card anymore. And many games will use this sort of safe, protected area for things that you don't want other people to see. So I'm going to go back to the Games tab. We can pull up a couple other...
And these are all, like I said, free games, and each of these are categories, right?
I think they're just the game itself. So we can pull up a checkerboard here, and when I talk about the physics modeling, that's sort of what separates this for me from, the games that we might remember from Windows, and the Windows chess where you're just seeing the picture and it moves. This has a real tactile feeling to it. You click and you're picking up the piece, that you've got some nice sound that goes along with it, so that as you're moving the piece around, when you drop it, you can hear a satisfying sound. I don't know if you guys can hear sound.
Yeah, well, I heard it go click.
Okay, yeah. And so now with this, you can really see how we're both interacting in the environment at the same time. So my hand, I'm the white player, so my hand is white, but you can see John's hand up there in blue. And we're both able to interact with the 3D elements in this scene in real time together. So there's just a heightened sense of, hey, we're participating in this thing together, as opposed to a game where one person makes a move and then you kind of wait for another person to make a move. So he can move my piece and hey, don't move my piece, so I can move it back. And there's just, I think there's a heightened sense of connectivity, being able to interact together within the environment. So let's pull up one more. Let's pull up a deck of cards again, and I'm actually going to highlight the deck of cards, and I'm going to delete them from the context menu. So another thing that you can do is it comes pre-programmed with some objects that you can use to make, to facilitate whatever it is you're trying to do. So next to the games menu at the top, we've got objects. And first we can look at tables. So we can switch what our table looks like. Right now we're using the round table. We can switch to an octagon, a little bit more like a poker table that you might have at your house. We can switch to a larger poker table like we would have here in Las Vegas. Or just a nice little hexagon. Then we can also start to pull up individual components. So we've got blocks. Just simple red square, blue rectangle, green triangle. Blocks that we can just pull out and use. Now I know there are some people who are interested in playing with grandkids on here. Simple game of blocks. And you can see with the physics modeling in the area, stackable. Oh. Is that one? So we're able to use all of those in ways that we wanted to. You've got a variety of boards to choose from. With the custom board, you can actually lay that out and assign your own picture to it. We've got the cards that we saw. We've got checkers, chess pieces, marbles. We've got dice that we can throw out. Here's your normal 6-sided dice. And again, we can select those with a marquee selection, left mouse down, drag a selection around. Right click for the contextual menu and click roll. We can see that the shortcut is R, the same as our shuffle. And so if we right click and we press R repeatedly, and we're rolling our dice. So just pulling out a simple 5 set of dice, you could play a game of Yahtzee without any other scripting or modifications at all. So I'd encourage you to just kind of play around, see what's in there. You've got pawns of different colors, poker chips, coins. You know, there's a lot of little individual components that you can use to kind of create your own, you know, any materials that you would need for whatever you're trying to do. So one of the really neat things about Tabletop is that it's sort of an open source and what we call moddable environment. So people can then take these basic elements and they can modify them to replicate. The way that works is we're going to go up to our Games tab again, and then we're going to click down here to the Workshop. So you can see in the Workshop, these are all the games, all the mods that I've already downloaded and that we use to play. Uno is a pretty popular game. A lot of people know Uno. And so you can see that this one loads up. So somebody has gone to the trouble of scanning in all of the Uno cards and setting up an environment where this game is already ready to go. And you can see that basically functioning as a normal Uno game. Now the question sometimes comes up, is there a copyright violation going on here? And it seems that the general attitude is that these are games that you would not be able to play over the internet with people. And it's just a way to sort of expose their brand as you're playing, you know, and so if you're playing Uno online with friends, you're more likely to go purchase an Uno deck and play it in person once we get back to that sort of thing. But it seems like most of the manufacturers are okay with people experiencing their product and their brand through this virtual environment in hopes that they would then, you know, purchase the physical model of the game. Because while this is good, it's still not quite as good as being there in a room with other people and having your hands on the physical game pieces and all of that. So the way we would browse for a game, let me just go ahead and delete Clue here so that we can go ahead and look for it. We're going to click on Workshop, and then up here you're going to see the Browse button. And that's actually going to take you back into Steam. And here we've got a bar, Search Tabletop Simulator. So I'm just going to search for Clue. And you've got a rating system here. So you can see multiple people have made various versions of the game. And with different game boards, different takes on the game. I'm going to pick this first one here. And I'm going to click, there's a little plus button down in the bottom. And now you can see that I'm subscribed to this game. Now, what that means by subscribed is that if the person who originally made the modification to the game makes different adjustments to it, maybe they go back in and fix some of the cards, or they redo some of the artwork, those changes will update in your version of the game as well. So then once I've selected my game, I can go back up here to the top. You can see click here to return to the game. And now Clue shows up in my Workshop games, and I can click on it and load. And now we've got our Clue game board. Everything's set up, ready to go. Here's our murder weapons. Here's our game board. The pawns are already in their starting position. And we've got our rooms, weapons, and suspect cards over here ready to go.
Go ahead and zoom in so that you can
okay. Yeah, so you can see weapons over here on the right-hand side. We've got our dice ready to go. You can see our pawns are set up in the right spot. And then we've got our 3 decks of cards over here ready to be shuffled and begin the game. And then you can also see with this with this layout, we've got these protected boxes again. So with a game like Clue, you've got your little sheet down here where you're making notes and trying to figure stuff out. So what happens within inside these little boxes is not visible to other players. And so you're, you know, we're replicating the way the game would be played as closely as possible through this 3D environment. And again, you can see John's hand floating around. That does get kind of crazy sometimes, is if you've got 6 or 8 people sitting around one table and all of these hands are flying around. I've more than once had to been like, hey, could you move your hand so that I can see my card there? Another thing to note is as you're moving, you can kind of see there's a shadow or a translucent version of the pawn that kind of stays on the board and shows you where the pawn is going to drop. So just some little things like that to make moving around a bit easier.
Why don't you talk about the modification you can do to your view?
Okay.
The one about the
just a left click is usually used for selecting items to pick them up, or a left mouse down enables you to draw your marquee box and make a group of selections. So you can see a yellow outline around both of those pawns, the green and the white pawn. And so now if I click on those, they'll move together. Middle mouse down slides the view left and right, front and back around, basically keeping your position the same and moving the table around. And then a right mouse down orbits around the center of the table. And this is one of those things, after the first 15 minutes of working with it, you kind of get used to moving the board to wherever you want to see it. Because you might start out the game, so John's the blue character, so he's going to start out the game maybe looking at it from this way. And then he's able to just rotate around, scroll in with the mouse wheel to zoom in, and get it to the positioning of whatever he'd like. Let me just call up another game here. My mother's favorite game is Sorry, so we play a lot of Sorry. And this pulls out. Oh, somebody's joined us at the table. And so now you can see we've got a third player. I don't see. John, you may have to select a different color to get a seat at this one.
Okay.
I don't see you sitting at the table.
Can't be blue, huh? Change color. Interesting.
And for those people that just clicking on your name up here in the upper right gives you the option to change your color. And
the reason for that was that Sorry is a game for only 4.
Right.
And so the color blue is not one of the default colors for a 4-person.
Right. So now you can see we've got 3 people sitting at the table, and we've got now a purple hand into the mix as well. And again, we're all able to interact with all the pieces, moving them around as we'd like. One thing that gets a bit tricky when you first start is grabbing cards off the deck. So it's a click and swipe, drags one card off the deck. If you left mouse down and hold it for a second, you can see the whole deck pick up. And now you can move the whole deck around. And we, every time we play, somebody will inadvertently try to grab a card off the deck, and they'll end up picking up the whole thing and taking it over to their side. And you just set it back.
And again, when you draw the card and you bring it to yourself, you do an F to flip it over. Mm-hmm. And here would be a case where with the writing on it, you'd want to be able to do the Alt key and make it bigger. Right? Alt key.
So, Dad, why don't you try to take a card that we can see here so we can all see this 10 from my view, and now pull it into your hand. And you can see once it goes into his hand, that protected area, the card flips over, we can't see what it is anymore. Just to reemphasize how you've got that sort of safe space where you've got your hand, nobody else can see it.
Ooh, that was a good card.
Yeah. So that's another fun mod there. And you can really kind of search and see what kind of stuff is available to you. Let me show you one more interesting thing, particularly those of you who have grandkids. Jigsaw is a fun modification. So here, this is a custom jigsaw puzzle. I'm going to, it loads up this way, and it's waiting for you to choose a picture. So it might be really fun to do a picture of the family. I'm going to pull up a picture here from my hard drive. I'm a musician, so I'm going to select that. Now it's going to ask me if I want to keep it on my local disk or the cloud disk. You're going to need to put it on the cloud so that it's going to upload the image to your server cloud so that everybody in the game can access it.
Because we found that if not, all my pieces are white jigsaw pieces. Makes it difficult to play that game.
That's a little different too.
Yeah. Is it still rendering?
No, it just seems to have not come up. So let me try that again. Oh, I wonder if it can't use a PNG.
I just thought it was a dark picture at night.
Oh, there it is. Oh yeah, those are all PNGs.
Yeah, and I'll point out in terms of the games too, everything that Christopher has shown us and we play is free. There are paid games. There are people who are developers that pay games, but they are very similar to the costs of apps for your phone and stuff. You know, $3, $4, $5. But you don't have to pay anything. Once you get past the tabletop, you can be playing games for nothing.
So forgive the choice of JPEG. This is a screenshot from a webinar on music from Star Trek TV series I did a while ago. But you can see it's taken, so it's showing you the image that the game that the picture originally is, and you can see that all of the pieces have been broken up now. And so now we have a custom puzzle from a photo of your choice. And once again, we're all able to interact and move these pieces around. Another important shortcut, Q and E will rotate the pieces. And you know, this is a good one. There were different sizes, so you could do a smaller sizes of pieces if you had younger children working with you. But this is another good way to kind of just pass the time, just because it's easy to talk and chat while you're working on a puzzle. So that's another kind of neat feature that just comes right embedded with the game. I think that might be a fairly a good introduction. I mean, there's a lot to get into it. I think just kind of exploring it on your own.
Why don't you go ahead and show them Island, just to show them a different style that you've gotten us into in terms of cooperative game playing.
Sure. So so what he's talking about there is Forbidden Island is a cooperative game, in that you're not playing against other people. Everybody playing in the game is working together, and you win or lose together. So this is a game where you're trying to rescue some treasure items from an island before the island floods and sinks underwater. And a notice too what the background is for this wallpaper on this game. Yeah, so we got a nice 3D photo of the ocean. Again, for just a little bit of theatrical and environmental. So here we've got a good place to demonstrate the Alt command. So here we've got Forbidden Island. There's a card right here that's got the order of play and the actions that you can take. If I hover my hand over it and press Alt, now that comes up large, and I can actually read what's on that card. The same thing would apply to the instructions that people have placed here. I can, oh, no, I can't. Those you just have to zoom in on. But here we can just pull that up. If I want to read what's on, see that card a little closer, see this card a little closer. I would definitely recommend, if you haven't tried some cooperative games, I would definitely recommend Forbidden Island, the whole Forbidden series, Forbidden Desert. There's a lot of stuff out there, and it really takes a new take. You know, the hurt feelings are much less. And I think particularly playing with younger players, you know, everybody's working together. And you're talking about it, and there's not any kind of combative feeling, and it's a really fun. This game is really fun, you know, to see can you get off the island? Can you work as a team to get off of there? I'll show you one more. Horrified is a really fantastic cooperative game based on the Universal Studios original Monsters. And so you can see that the game takes place in a village, and various monsters are on the loose, and you're working together to overcome the monsters and you know, and protect the village. That's another game that I would highly recommend checking out. Now, another resource for those of you who maybe don't play tabletop games a lot, there are a multitude of YouTube channels now that feature videos of people just playing the games and teaching you how to play. So there have been a couple of times where, before we've engaged in playing the game through Tabletop Simulator, I've sent my dad a YouTube link and said, hey, watch this video of these people explaining and then playing the games. And then you kind of, it's a little bit easier to see kind of people playing it before you jump in. So you don't need to be intimidated about, oh, how would I figure out this new game? With YouTube now, there's several channels that go through the process of explaining how to play, and then them playing the game itself while sort of mentioning the different aspects of it as well. So tons of resources out there. And lots of stuff available through this. So I don't know.
This is Jerry, and you've got a ton of different questions, and you're now at 3:50 with 10 minutes left. So you either take the questions or summarize, please.
We could take some questions if you'd like.
Can Stream and Tabletop Simulator be played on an iPad or an Android tablet?
I don't think so.
Is it probably because you...
Okay. Can the directions and rules for the game be accessed during the game play?
Yes. So right down here, you can see on my screen. So here's the Horrified instruction book that's right here. And this one I can alt over and read. And if you can kind of see, when I hover over to the right, there's a next page button. So we click on that. That moves us to the next page.
Okay.
Click on that. Yep.
Another good question is, during play, do we communicate by text or voice?
You have got a couple options for that. There is, I believe the key command is C, and it will open up a voice chat within Tabletop Simulator itself. Most of the time when I'm playing, we're actually running a Zoom call at the same time. So we're actually interacting over Zoom and then playing the game inside of here. So you could use Skype or any other Discord, any other kind of chat group function that way.
Yeah. The other reason for the using Zoom is that you can switch back to the cameras and see each other, which gives another heightened level of being together to play these games.
Okay. If I buy a 4-pack, can I change the users, i.e., one weekend one couple and next weekend somebody else?
I don't think so. I think when you buy the 4-pack, you would gift that game through Steam, and it would be matched to a specific user's account. Now, I don't know if like, say you just had, like, you maybe just created 4 individual accounts and you shared that password, you could explore doing that. I can't say for certain that it would work, but in theory, I think if the person had downloaded Steam and was able to log in with that with that account name, but because the game would be attached to the account.
Right.
To the Steam account.
Yeah. So it's like being able to get to somebody else's email. You just log in with theirs and you've got all their messages.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Another question that came up, guys, is Scrabble available?
Let's see. Games. Workshop.
Scrabble.
Browse. Scrabble. Yes, it looks like we've got a couple of choices there.
Okay, like I say, you've had plenty of questions, and we certainly don't have time to cover them all right now, but if people signed up using their correct name so we can email the answers, we certainly will.
Absolutely.
How about some closing remarks, guys?
I think that particularly in the event of COVID, this has been really important for me in terms of feeling connected to people. You know, I'm in Las Vegas. My parents are in Central Ohio. We've not seen each other in person in a couple of years at this point in time. Being able to interact this way is really special. I also think that we live in a time where people are constantly doing things on their own, playing a game on their own iPhone, reading on their own phone. Anything that kind of gets people sitting around a table, even if it's virtual, and laughing and interacting, I think is incredibly healthy and something that we've kind of gotten away from in society. And I think that technology such as this is going to let us get it back a little bit.
Fantastic. How about you, John? Closing remarks?
Yep, closing remarks. Remember, what needs to happen is that everybody goes to Steam and gets the Steam program. And then each player, not host, but each player has to have their own tabletop. So I have a tabletop and my wife has a tabletop because we sit at two different computers and my son and his wife sit at two different computers. And so we're all four playing together. So you each purchase your own tabletop. And like I said, you know, there's the deal right now for 4. Then one of you has to be the host. And all that means is I set up the game and I control those buttons that Chris has that I don't have because I'm not a host. But everybody can be a host. You can be hosting a different one. It's just like right now, I'm the host of this Zoom, but on another track, Bill James is the host of track 1. And Jerry might be having a meeting somewhere else as a host. Today, he's a co-host. And I think that the opportunity to be together and do things like this is great, especially all the free stuff. There was one other game on there that Christopher showed me. You can do Legos.
Oh,
my grandkids love Legos. So
wow,
that's under the workshop tab as well. You just search for Lego, and it brings you up a table here, and you've just got unlimited things that you can pull off. Got a car over here. So that's another way to interact. And then one more just fun feature that I'll show you.
Please.
Not to completely take out the bad blood that can come from table games. You can see up here at the top we've got a flip button. So if somebody's just cheating and you can't stand it, you flip the table and nobody has to clean anything up.
So you know, my thoughts at $10, that's, you know, so much less than what you'd pay, in the ability to be able to connect with people far, far away and play some games. Next week is going to be a good one in Ohio because we're forecast for 4 to 8 inches coming up next week. We're not going to go outside and do anywhere, but we could get on the computer and play games.